Thank you for tuning in to Elevated Arts and Healing, the podcast. I'm your host, Amy Elevated, and I am back with a brand new series here on the podcast called the Empowered Consistency Series. In honor of the launch of my new workbook, Empowered Consistency, I wanted to start a series and kind of share just a little bit about the workbook and the different topics that it brought up. It made me want to go a little bit more in depth into these things. And you can also use these episodes as a tool to help guide you through the workbook as well. In this Empowered Consistency series, I will be breaking down things such as nurturing self-compassion, cultivating mindfulness and presence, and building empowered habits and routines. Today's episode is going to be about embracing empowered consistency and discussing the importance of consistency in personal growth and achieving goals. Before we get into today's episode, please subscribe here either on Spotify or on YouTube. Like and subscribe. That way you can be notified as soon as new episodes drop. And you can also find me over at amyelevated.com, where you can purchase your very own copy of the Empowered Consistency Workbook. Learn more about my Thrive and Transform program that will be running in October. And you can purchase or view beautiful art in the store. Again, you can find that all over at amyelevated.com. We're going to go ahead and get into today's episode, so sit back and relax and enjoy. If you've been listening for a while, then you have heard my previous episode about sprouting consistency and how consistency really has been a huge role in my healing journey. I want to talk a little bit more about empowered consistency. So we know that consistency is about the choices that we make, and empowered consistency is about making choices that help you feel empowered to have a better quality of life. So that is what the Empowered Consistency Workbook and this Empowered Consistency podcast series is all about. Helping you make choices that are going to help you feel empowered to have a better quality of life. So when you're setting your goals and you're looking to move through some personal growth and you want to work more on consistency, you want to start by establishing that foundation of consistency. By nature, humans are consistent. It just makes a difference in what we are consistent at. We are creatures of habit. We like to do things over and over. It makes us feel comfortable. So I think the thing that really changes the game is going to be awareness of what your body needs, awareness of what your mind needs, awareness of your emotional needs, and then deciding what choices can I make continually that are going to guide me towards a better quality of life, to thrive and to be able to continually grow. So that's why consistency is so important. Consistency can be an everyday thing, but it also is in the things that you do weekly or monthly or bi-yearly or whatever it is, the time limit for the certain thing that you need to do. That is what consistency looks like. So definitely you want to be a little bit flexible on the time wise for the consistency, because each goal and each thing is going to require a different level of consistency in order for you to be successful. An example of how consistency has empowered me is my sobriety. My choice to stay sober every single day and stay consistent in my sobriety has really aided in my personal growth and in my business growth as well. I have gotten to know myself way better, and I've gotten to create this space where I get to be creative and I get to show up as myself. And my life definitely feels way more fulfilling being consistent in sobriety than it did when I was consistent in my addiction cycle. So that's an example of how consistency can really move you into a better quality of life. When I first got into my sobriety journey, I soon entered my fitness journey, and they kind of meshed together and married. And that's how this whole thing has really been created. So, my movement routine and my sobriety routine essentially came together, and that required a new level of consistency for me, and also different things that I needed to be consistent at to stay consistent in my sobriety and my movement. So, I want you to think about a goal that you want to achieve. Set a specific, achievable goal for yourself, because we're going to start an empowered consistency journey right here, right now. And then once you map out that goal, I want you to reflect on the positive changes that you want to see throughout this journey pop up in your life. And after you've reflected on those things, you can break down that goal and see what habits and things do I need to stay consistent at to be able to achieve this goal. So, a couple of tips to help you stay consistent towards this goal that we just set here, right now, especially if it has anything to do with sobriety or fitness. I want you to create a daily routine that includes time for reflection and self care. Self care is super important in everything that we do, because the more that we pour into ourselves, the better care that we take of ourselves, the better we can show up and serve and do the things that we love to do and enjoy life. I want you to focus on consistency over intensity, especially if your goal has anything pertaining to movement. You want to stay consistent in the movement instead of trying to go 0 to 100 to max out right away. Because immediately, if you're going 0 to 100 with any goal, you most likely are not going to stay consistent in the long run. And our goal here is continued consistency. We want to take this on for the long haul, for the long run. And then incorporate rest days into your fitness routine to allow for recovery. And that's really with anything that you do. You want to give yourself time for recovery. The body and the mind needs time to recover. We're making life changes here, and I want you to give yourself a little bit of grace, because it might be uncomfortable to change at first, but as you start really getting into your groove, it does become easier, and then you're able to apply that consistency over almost every single area of your life, which is going to give you a better quality of life, which is what we have been talking about this entire episode here. So, embracing change and transformation that comes with staying consistent and making these life changes. So, most of the time when we set goals and we're working on personal growth, the next thing that's going to happen is change. A lot of the times, the reason why we don't stay consistent into things is because at first it's very uncomfortable. I mentioned before that we are creatures of habit. So when things kind of stray outside of what it is that makes us comfortable, when we get to a spot where we're super uncomfortable, we revert back to what makes us comfortable. And sometimes we're afraid to change. We're afraid to change our environment. We're afraid to change the things that we consume. We're afraid to change all of these things because it is very uncomfortable. And I want you to embrace that fear. I want you to hear it. I want you to speak to it. And that is why we give ourselves times for reflection, because that fear is there for a reason. So when you sit with it and you see what it is that fear is bringing up, it then makes it easier to take a step past it. If it's not challenging you, it's a waste of your time. And we don't want to waste our time. We want to spend our time very wisely in doing the things to give us the best quality of life possible. Sometimes that fear of change and transformation is tied to not knowing the person that you're going to become, and maybe feeling like you aren't going to be able to handle this next level that comes with embracing that empowered consistency and really taking charge and changing your life. And I want to tell you that everything that you need is already inside you. So, what we're doing here is just building on what's already there. We're flexing a muscle that you already have that maybe just needs a little bit more use so that you can use it and become stronger with each movement in time. The power of consistency is that it has this snowball effect. So when you start with one area, it kind of snowballs into the other areas of your life, but it's creating this long lasting positive change in your life. And that is what we are looking for as we embrace empowered consistency and move along this journey here. So, for example, when I decided to stay sober, that was a choice for my health that led me to make more choices that were in line with keeping myself healthy and making myself strong. And same thing with fitness. So, as you do more push ups, your arms get stronger. You're able to lift things. So maybe your reason for getting into a movement routine is to have more stamina throughout your day, to have more energy. Maybe to have more energy to keep up with the kids, chase them around, do fun things. Maybe you just want to have better quality in your movement, or you just want to feel better moving around day by day because whatever you have going on with your body, it feels better if you get in movement. So there's so many different reasons that you can choose your goals and things like that. And consistency is going to be a way to keep all of those things rolling. It is hard to stay consistent at something that you're not used to staying consistent at first. So I want you to give yourself a little grace to fail. I want you to give yourself a little space and room to be able to pivot and give yourself a turn. And what I mean by this is, if you've chosen to do daily things to get towards your goal and maybe you miss a day, I want you to reflect on that. And instead of beating yourself up about it, know that every day is a new day and you can always choose to keep going. So, what happened yesterday does not determine what can happen right here, right now. So, if you feel like, I don't want you to feel like just because that passed that you cannot do it. Pick it up again and again and again and again. And then the next time through, you're going to notice that maybe you get through 5 days instead of 3 days before you might have missed a day. And then you get through a week and then 2 weeks and then that snowball effect again. And it starts to build up. And then you have this lasting positive change. You have this lasting habit that you're able to really take on with you. Locking that in, that consistency is really key to doing anything in life. If you are committed to your personal growth, consistency is going to be key. If you are committed to your physical growth, consistency is key. If you are committed to your creative growth, consistency is also going to be key. If you want to make money doing certain things, consistency is going to be the key. So, really locking in on that empowered consistency, that is what is going to help you be successful in achieving those goals. That is what I was thinking about when I created the Empowered Consistency Workbook. I wanted to help others really find that base of consistency for themselves. And it helps show you that you are able to stay consistent. So if you have those thoughts like, I'm just not able to stay consistent, I always fall off. One, I want you to sit with why you feel that way. And two, I want you to let go of the notion that you can't, because you absolutely can. You just have to continually try. You have to consistently try to do something that maybe you're not used to doing. It's all in that change and transformation. It's all in embracing newness and embracing being uncomfortable so that you can grow and show up stronger and better each time. And I want you to let go of the notion that you're just not going to be afraid and you're ready to do anything. I want to be a little bit transparent here. And I'm afraid doing a lot of things. I was afraid of teaching and talking in front of people. Almost every single time that I started a class, there was a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of fear in there. But getting up and getting through it and, coming out on the other side, I always felt more empowered to be able to do it again. And it helped me feel more empowered to be able to take that in other areas of my life and show up. And even if I'm scared, do it anyway. Like, the fear doesn't have to be non existent for you to be able to achieve your goals. You just have to know that you are able to work past that fear, that maybe you're even able to work with that fear to get you into that new phase or that new job or, landing that new habit that you've been working really hard on. If empowered consistency sounds like something that you want to start with to get you in on a roll and really getting you where you feel like you need to be, definitely go to amyelevated.com and purchase your copy of the Empowered Consistency Workbook. And make sure that you stay tuned for the rest of the series, because there's going to be a whole lot of things that we discuss here on the podcast that are going to be nice little nuggets to help you on your empowered consistency journey. Before we go, I want to share an affirmation that I use in my empowered consistency journey, and it is, I am committed to my journey of sobriety and personal growth. And I love saying this affirmation, writing it out as I go through my goals, just to kind of give myself a reminder and to realign with what it is that I'm trying to do. That empowered consistency is empowering you to have a better quality of life. And if having a better quality of life sounds good to you, then this would be a really, really good place to start. So remembering that you have the power is already in you. Everything you need to start is already there. We are just working it out just like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it is. So the more that you work on that consistency, the stronger and the more confident you will feel that you are able to stay consistent in anything that you choose and decide to do. I want to thank y'all for joining me for today's episode, and I can't wait to see you again. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. You can check the show notes. That way you have links to everything that I mentioned here, the Empowered Consistency Workbook, the Elevated Art Shop, and more information on the Thrive and Transform program that we'll be running in October. Super excited for all of that. Can't wait to see you back here. Love yourselves, make good decisions, and I'll be talking with y'all later.